What's going on, guys? It's the Bearded One back with another beer review. And surprise, surprise, we're doing another Trim Tab double dry hopped IPA. This one is Rulebook Arsonist, and as you've already guessed, if you follow the channel for more than, say, a couple of weeks, I'm really into the Light Visions collection. It's kind of become a joke with my buddy Campbell at work. So Campbell, I know you're subscribed to me. See this video, you know I'm talking about you. I really like the marketing here. Rulebook Arsonist. It's kind of in the name. They're setting fire to the rule book, which in this case would be the rule book of beer, of IPA. And then the quote kind of ties in with the name. It says, learn the rules like a pro, so you can break them like an artist, by Pablo Picasso. So that kind of ties in nicely. I had a different coworker, not Campbell, but I had a different coworker. He had an interesting thought one day. He told me, it's kind of funny how when you reach your 30s, you're still yourself. You're still the core of who you always were is still intact, but you're kind of a watered down version of your angsty late teens, early 20s self when you're 30, and I think that's so true. But I'm just saying that to say that part of why I like the marketing so much is I had that just anti-conformity. What's the term that I used to use all the time? Anti-conformist. I'm not sure. You know what I'm talking about. I had that attitude when I was in my late teens and early 20s, big time. So this still appeals to me, even though, like my coworker says, I'm a watered down version of that angsty teenager. It's 1 pint, 16 ounces, 6.8% alcohol by volume. So of the Light Visions collection, this is definitely one of the more sessionable IPAs. It is brewed with Simcoe, Amarillo, YET. I always want to say Wahiti, but it's YET. Mosaic, Nelson, Sauvin, Cascade, and Citra hops. So Nelson Sauvin is one hop. I said that as two words, and it's supposed to be like one name. I was just watching a fantastic beer reviewer, not just recently before I filmed this, but earlier today. His name is Darwin's Beer Reviews, and I'm sure if anybody subbed to me that's part of the BeerTube community, I'm sure you've heard of the guy. Fantastic vocabulary, fantastic nose, palate. I really admire the guy. I've become quite a fan of his work. And I believe it was Nelson Sauvin he was talking about in his last IPA review. Of the time I'm recording this. And I think it was that one he said it gives kind of a white grapey, like a white wine type character to a beer. So we'll see what happens with that. I will definitely be looking for it. I'm familiar with names of these other hops, but I don't feel like I'm at that point yet where I can differentiate specific hop or specific malt strain. Like I could tell if something is darkly roasted or pale malt or Pilsner, but I couldn't tell Crystal 40 from Crystal 60 malt. I mean, that's just not going to happen. And so guys like Darwin's Beer Reviews and I think Matt from Massive Beer Reviews, they can tell sometimes, nobody's perfect, but they can tell sometimes when their favorite malt variety or their favorite hop variety is in a beer. And that's incredible. That's kind of where, I'm trying to go next as far as, developing my senses and my perceptions and my vocabulary and that sort of thing. pours out like pineapple juice. Thick, foamy, frothy head, just like most of the series has been. Just some tightly wound bubbles underneath, some looser, bigger bubbles laying on top of everything. Again, it looks like pineapple juice to me. Very deep gold color. I need to look up the word opaque. I think opaque means that you can't see through it, but I don't want to say opaque. Just a haze bomb. I can't see through it at all. Not murky or nothing. It kind of goes to a really just a subtle clearness at the bottom of the glass, but that could just be where the glass and the beer meet, not necessarily the beer doing that. Up to the light, nothing. Just a haze bomb. I studied in the. I'm studying for the CBS. I'll just say it like that, which is the Certified Beer Server rank or level or certification or whatever for the Cicerone program. And I was learning on how to properly clean a glass. And I learned that if you have a bubble sticking to the side of your glass might be kind of dirty. Well, not dirty, but it's not properly cleaned for beer. And there's like a bubble or two in here sticking to the glass. So it might, maybe I didn't properly clean it for beer. Now that I kind of have that knowledge, once I get the CVS, I will go back and do like a detailed beer glass cleaning video. It's not as commonsensical as you think. I actually learned some stuff, so that'll be interesting. Look for that in the future. Back to this beer, though. On the bubbles, I didn't see any bubbles outside of the ones clinging to the glass, and it wasn't a lot of bubbles at that. So, not a lot of volatility in terms of carbonation in this thing. Juicy, juicy, juicy. I'm getting a lot of citrus fruits in here. There's citra in here. Citrus. I mean, it's in the name. I'm getting a little more pine, a little more grass. Kind of a lemongrassy thing going on in here. From the other hops. Yeah, this one's more on the lemony side of things. Definitely more acidic. More like a citric acid souring ability. That's another thing I've had clarification on. I finally understand that acidity is the sour, the puckering factor. So I'll start incorporating acidity into my vocabulary in the future. Pineapple, heavy grapefruit. I think grapefruit and lemon kind of dominates the aroma. Let me try this aromatic technique that I learned from Cicerone. I noticed the citrus character kind of died down with that swirl. I don't know how effective that was. It did kind of get the citrus out of the way, and I felt like there's just a base crackery malt presence in here. Very delicate. It just kind of playing co-star to all these varieties of hops in here. Didn't expect to even smell malt in here. back to the piney lemongrass aroma. I was really looking for that grape, that Nelson Sauvignon. Again, I'm not very versed in that hop. I haven't even read up on it. I do think, I think it was the Victory, the Valentine's Day review I did. I think that had the Nelson Sauvignon in it, and I think I smelled the white grape in it. But here, I'm not really getting it because there's just so much hop complexity going on. Otherwise, a very aromatic, very pleasant smelling beer. One more time. You know, this beer is it's not like a bitter bomb. You know, I feel like I believe in the lupulin threshold. So 5 years ago, this would have been super bitter. Would have never touched this beer. But today, I guess when I'm saying like a moderately bitter beer, if I'm comparing this to, I don't know. Like, moderately bitter to me 5 years ago would have been a pale ale. And now, a double dry hopped IPA is moderately bitter. So, I hope you can see, I hope that kind of clarifies, I guess, what I mean about that. And the lupulin threshold I'll go into in a different video. It just deals with, I don't know if immunity is the right word, but I'll just say it for lack of a better term. It kind of just deals with immunity to hop bitterness. And so I guess I'll just cut out all the minutia and just say this is a moderately bitter double dry hopped IPA. For what it is moderately bitter, which is pretty bitter for the category, the style of IPA it is. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of dankness in here. It's not a lot of dankness though. Maybe it seems kind of resinous, kind of grassy. Which surprised me because in the aromatics, the citrus was playing the dominant role in the aroma. And then here on the palate, the citrus kind of takes a step back and lets the bitterness and the pine, the grass, that sort of thing, the resin, the hop resin, the oils, kind of take hold. But the bitterness kind of wears off over the sip, and then that sweetness from the citrus kind of takes over. I'm really looking for that grapey, the Nelson Sauvignon in here. I think I'd be lying to you if I just said I taste it in here. I feel like it's in here because I just learned about that hop variety. But I don't want to trick my brain into tasting it when I can't really actually honestly taste it. If that makes sense. I'm just digging way too hard into this beer, for sure. So yeah, just moderately bitter for a double dry hopped IPA for the category. With that resin and grass, and then it doesn't necessarily like tank and fall off a cliff, but it kind of really gives way to the citrus in the middle of the sip, that juiciness, that pineapple, the grapefruit, the lemon. I feel like on the palate, the lemon really plays the star. Yeah, that lemon, that grapefruit, kind of coming behind that. There's a little bit of astringency here. It does kind of dry on the back end. It makes me want another sip. It's just kind of playing. Like it's just another good double dry hopped IPA from Trim Tap. I mean, it just kind of goes along with the Light Visions collection. It's kind of become the standard as this juicy, citrusy, sweet beer. And then kind of what's been the difference for me has been either the kind of citrus and either earthy, or the hops have kind of been more of, not the hops, goodness gracious, like the accent to the juicy, to the citrus has been what's been different for me. They've either been floral or earthy or more piney, or in this case grassy. I'm searching so hard for that white grape. I can't find it. Just put it at that. I will leave it alone for the sake of time constraints on this video. We already covered the finish. There's some astringency here. Not the most drying beer. Kind of just on par with the rest of the Light Visions collection. Just a semi drying effect. Not wet. But definitely not like I say this a lot. Not like a brooded beer or a brut IPA brut champagne. Although brut IPAs used to be a thing, or they're a thing now, I can't remember when that trend was or is happening. But in that burp, I just had some of it come. In that burp, I felt like there might have been some white wine and grape character in there. So again, I can't taste it on the palate, but it's just gotta be there. It's just gotta be there. I like it. It's really good. Got a creamy mouthfeel, very juicy as well. The viscosity on this thing, it's not thin. There's not a lot of water featured here. Not thick and chewy. So we'll go with a solid medium viscosity here. Good creamy texture to the viscosity. Maybe if, because I didn't heat this IPA up for very long. It came straight out of the fridge. Maybe there's some, I think there's some cold chill on the glass as well. So quite possibly, if this beer had warmed up, maybe I would get the Nelson Sauvignon and I'll probably warm it up off camera to see if I can pick up that Nelson Sauvignon. Recommendations, I don't think this is going to be the IPA for you. If you're exploring IPAs, I would definitely recommend this category though. The juicy, citrusy IPAs tend to be a lot sweeter. The whole New England IPA category, and I think that makes them more accessible to people that are getting into the IPA, seeing what it has to offer. I think these are the more palatable IPAs of the entire IPA family. Like I said, moderately bitter, so I think this would be more for IPA enthusiasts, people that like to fry their palates. Might not be overly impressed with the bittering quality here, but I think if you like hops, this definitely has hops to offer you. As far as a rating goes, bitterness is not my friend. Bitterness made a beer so hard for me to explore and get into. And, you know, while I do believe in that lupulin threshold thing, just the fact that it's probably the most bitter IPA I've had of the collection, I'm going to have to say it's my least favorite. So I put it at it's still good. It's still juicy. It's still a beer I would buy again if I was hankering for it, for a good juicy IPA. I give it a 3.75 out of 5. It's a good solid B plus beer. That bitterness, turns me off, and then I'm just so sad that I can't detect that Nelson Sauvignon, that white grape, white wine note in here. But that'll do me for this review, guys. Thanks for watching. Always be sure to like, unlike, subscribe, unsubscribe, leave love mail, hate mail, comments. I'll get around to it. I'm gonna update all my videos again. I'll put the social medias in the description. You can follow me there. I think that's it. I think that wraps this video up. Trim tab, Rulebook Arsonist. 3.75 out of 5. Till next time, guys. Cheers.